Welcome to Auto Mundial, the weekly car news and review show. This week, we get our first look at the fabulous new Morgan Super 3.
We also have an electric estate car from MG and the updated Ford Fiesta.
Plus BMW's new MPV and Bentley's new hybrid Bentayga. That is all coming up. But first, the news.
The Stellantis Group has announced that it will go fully electric in Europe by 2026 as part of a new company strategy known as Dare 2030. The Netherlands-based company that owns Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Jeep, Citroën, Peugeot, Dodge and Vauxhall, among numerous others, has said that it is well into the development cycle of its next generation EVs. On the other side of the pond, meanwhile, Stellantis estimates that 50% of its sales in North America will be electric by 2030, with a total of 45 electric models across its brands by 2024.
In its ongoing quest to build the world's biggest front grille, BMW has revealed its all-new 2 Series Active Tourer to rival the likes of the Mercedes B-Class and Volkswagen Touran. Not to be confused with the new 2 Series Coupe, the Active Tourer is a practical family car based on the front-wheel drive 1 Series platform. Now, MPVs may have declined in popularity over the past decade with the increased demand for SUVs, but cars like this still make a lot of sense for family buyers. With a much sleeker, cleaner design than the old car, it actually looks pretty good if you can get your head around the truly enormous kidney grilles that are joined in the middle. Where a B-Class or a Touran might fly under the radar, this certainly doesn't. Slightly larger than the old car in every dimension, the new Active Tourer is more spacious than ever, with improved head and legroom throughout. But BMW has been careful to keep the weight down. The wheels are forged, the bonnet is made from aluminium, and there's more plastic built into the car's structure, which not only saves weight, but improves rigidity. Much work has been done in the wind tunnel too to improve its aerodynamics and thus provide better fuel economy. Inside the tasteful cabin, there are some all-new seats that have been designed to be as comfortable as possible. The rear seats can be moved around to suit your needs or folded away completely for up to 1,455 litres of cargo space. Do note, however, this is a 5-seat car, not a 7. A range of petrol engines are available with one diesel option as well as a plug-in hybrid, but it's worth pointing out that the PHEV has slightly less boot space due to the batteries. Power ranges between 148 and 322 brake horsepower, with top spec cars getting all-wheel drive, meaning this should be a very usable luxury family car.
But if the 2 Series wants top honours in the posh MPV market, it will need to beat the current class leader, the Mercedes B-Class. Based on the popular A-Class, the B is available with all of the expensive options and technology you can get on its sister car. Basic models come with a pair of 7-inch screens. They're bright and sharp and include navigation and voice control. If you're willing to splash out a bit though, you can get a beautiful pair of bigger screens stretching out across the top of the dash. Be warned though, while they might look great, they are quite distracting. Elsewhere in the cabin, everything is typically Mercedes. The materials on display are first class with excellent fit and finish and an ultra-modern look. It's very similar to the A-Class's interior, but you sit higher and the driving position is not as comfortable. This though is a car for carrying passengers, so rear bench space is a priority. Thankfully there's acres of room for those in the back. The tall roofline means headroom is excellent and there's plenty of legroom too. Boot space is decent and a lot better than many crossover SUVs that buyers may be considering. There's a wide range of petrol and diesel engines to choose from, with the highlight being the B250's 2-litre petrol, which can do 0 to 62 in just 6.4 seconds and on to 155 miles per hour. Then there's the frugal diesel B220D, which offers a great blend of economy and performance, with its 187 brake horsepower allowing for a 7.2 second 0 to 62 time.
MPVs may have gone out of fashion, but cars like the B-Class and the new 2 Series Active Tourer proved that they're still worthy rivals to the flurry of crossovers and small SUVs. For our money, we'd go for the BMW. It may have the face of a cartoon villain, but it is an impressively complete package.
Since its launch back in 2016, the Bentley Bentayga has always been rather a divisive luxury SUV. Sitting somewhere in between the Range Rover and the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, it's won favour among those who appreciate bold, modern styling mixed with classic British luxury. We rather like it, and now there's even more reason to do with this, the new Bentayga Hybrid. Joining the existing lineup of V8s and W12s, the plug-in hybrid Bentayga makes do with a humbler V6, equipped with a pair of turbochargers to produce 335 brake horsepower. Added to that is the same hybrid system found on the old Bentayga Hybrid, for a total output of 443 horsepower. 0 to 62 is dealt with in just over 5 seconds, while top speed remains unchanged at 158. And while that isn't all that impressive when compared to the unelectrified Bentaygas, it can do something they can't do. Slip it into electric mode and the hybrid will cover up to 25 miles on electric power only. Like the rest of the Bentayga range, the hybrid benefits from a recent facelift. Most noticeable at the rear end with its new elliptical taillights. It looks cleaner and more modern, but we suspect the styling will continue to divide opinion. Inside, the updates are similarly subtle, but it remains one of the very best interiors of any SUV.
However, the Bentley is not the only luxury 4x4 with hybrid assistance. This is the Audi Q7, another recent addition to the plug-in hybrid ranks. It uses the same V6 as the Bentayga, and it is just as quick, and the similarities do not end there. It'll cover 25 miles on electric only, and its performance figures are practically identical. One area where they do differ, however, is the price. The Bentley is almost twice as expensive as the 80 grand Audi, but we don't think it's quite twice the car. Inside the Q7 you find lots of leather, wood and brushed metals. It's all ultra-modern and it works brilliantly. It gets the MMI dual-screen infotainment system found in other high-end Audis, and the 10-inch top screen takes care of audio and navigation, while the lower 8.6-inch screen controls climate control and car setup menus. Behind the steering wheel, the Q7 also gets Audi's tried and tested virtual cockpit, which replaces analog dials with a beautiful high-definition screen that can display instruments and maps. To top it all off, it even gets a third row of seats and an enormous boot, making the Q7 one of the most practical cars in its class. Granted, it isn't quite as high-end as the cabin of the Bentley, but it isn't exactly pokey.
The new Bentayga Hybrid, then, isn't the best value car on the market, but it certainly makes a statement. The thing is though, so does the Audi, and it costs £75,000 less.
After the break, fun on 3 wheels and the new Ford Fiesta. Still to come, the all-new Morgan Super 3. But first...
With the constant stream of new EVs being released, it seems there's something for everyone who wants to go electric. There are city cars, super minis, limousines and SUVs. There are even supercars and off-roaders. But there's one body style that seems to have been left behind by the EV crowd, the humble estate car. Okay, yes, Porsche does make an estate version of the Taycan, but at more than 73 grand it isn't exactly run-of-the-mill family transport. Now though, an affordable electric estate car is finally here, and it comes from MG. No longer a brand for tweed and real ale enthusiasts, the Chinese-owned brand is boldly heading into 2022 with an all-electric version of its respectable MG5. Known as the MG5 EV Long Range to give it its full title, the affordable MG has a 61.1 kilowatt battery that can silently power you along for up to 250 miles on a single charge. With a little over 150 brake horsepower powering the front wheels, it's not going to set the dyno alight, but thanks to the electric instant torque, it will manage the 0 to 60 spring in 7.3 seconds. Moving away from the high-tech powertrain, the MG5 is refreshingly basic. You won't find any extravagant design work or revolutionary interior features. It has the minimum one would expect from a family runabout and nothing else. It doesn't look quite as exciting as a Taycan, we admit, but it doesn't look cheap or old-fashioned. Take a seat in the spacious interior and it's more of the same nondescript styling. Remove the badge on the steering wheel and it could be pretty much any car in its class. A traditional analog instrument cluster accompanied by an 8-inch infotainment screen provides the eye candy with many old-school buttons adorning the steering wheel. Automatic wipers, electronically adjusted seats and cruise control come as standard, while heated seats and a roof rack come as part of the more expensive exclusive trim level. In the back, a 3-seat bench gets decent legroom and headroom. And if you're planning on making the most of the MG's decent range, the 464-litre boot will be plenty for your family road trips. Starting at a smidge under £28,000, the MG is certainly cheaper than a Porsche Taycan and just as worthy of your attention.
For decades now, the Ford Fiesta has been one of Britain's best-selling cars, and it's easy to see why. It's affordable, good to drive, and well-made. Recently, however, its competitors have started to catch up, and in some cases overtake the Fiesta in the sales charts. Clearly then, something needs to be done. Enter the new 2022 Fiesta, Ford's answer to the VW Polo and Renault Clio. The update is a mid-life facelift of the existing Fiesta, with a refreshed front-end look thanks to a bigger grille that now houses the Ford emblem rather than sitting beneath it. The headlights have also been updated and the bonnet has been resculpted. At the back, the changes are rather more subtle, with a darker tint on the rear lights and mildly altered diffuser making do. There are some new colours to choose from though, while the high-riding Fiesta Active and the sporty Fiesta ST have received similar revisions. The Fiesta Active gets some new body cladding and vertical grille bars, while the ST has been treated to an extra lump of torque to help keep it competitive against the new Hyundai i20N. Inside, the Fiesta's cabin remains largely unchanged, but it does get some new tech. There's a 12.3-inch digital instrument display with graphics that change to match the car's driving mode. Regular Fiestas get 3 driving modes: normal, eco and sport, while the Active adds trail and slippery. New safety tech includes adaptive headlights and a new wrong way alert system, which warns the driver if they're travelling against oncoming traffic. And if you thought that was unnecessary, there's also a new rear occupant alert, which reminds the driver that there's someone in the back. The Fiesta's engine lineup is carried over, with entry-level cars getting 99 brake horsepower, 1-litre 3-cylinder motor with 2 mild hybrid options topping off the range with up to 153 brake horsepower. However, there's a new Volkswagen Polo on the scene, and the latest Vauxhall Corsa is proving to be a very popular choice, especially with an EV version available. So are the Fiesta's minor updates significant enough to take it back to the top of the bestsellers list? Well, it certainly looks the part, and if it remains as good to drive as the old car, we wouldn't bet against it.
This is the Morgan Super 3, the latest model in Morgan's 112-year three-wheeled history. And while at first glance you might be forgiven for thinking not much has changed in all that time, look a little closer and you'll soon realise that this is the most futuristic Morgan ever. Built among Worcestershire's picturesque Malvern Hills, the company's highly skilled craftsmen have well and truly entered the 21st century with this Super 3. Following on from the unexpectedly popular three-wheeler, this new car looks very different. For starters, there's no big chromed V-twin engine hanging out of the front of it. Instead, the new Super 3 gets a thoroughly modern 3-cylinder Ford engine tucked away behind the suspension and fog lights. Then there are the wheels. No polished chrome spokes here, oh no. Instead, the Super 3 gets some gorgeous retro alloys shod with some specially developed Avon Speedmasters. They may look thin enough to be used on a motorbike, but they're actually wider than the old cars. The flanks of the car start off with some boxy side panels, more on those later, before tapering off to a beautifully sculpted rear end. The streamlined look is completed with a single cut-off exhaust and a glorious set of aero screens, although Morgan says that some more practical higher screens are available for those who don't want quite so much wind in their hair. Morgan was quite surprised when it saw just how many three-wheeler owners use their cars for long-distance touring, and has designed this new car, its first clean sheet design in more than 20 years, with that in mind. As a result, buyers can spec their new Super 3s with bespoke Marley luggage, which fits onto the flat air intakes behind the front wheels, which Morgan is calling side blades. It also comes with a basic but beautiful sat-nav in front of the driver and all sorts of optional panniers and storage solutions. The interior is all waterproof, a good job as there's no roof, while the tasteful digital dials alone make this the most modern Morgan we've ever seen. It all looks absolutely beautiful, with every little detail designed to look and feel desirable. It isn't just a design study though. Some very clever engineering has gone into the packaging. The old car was basically a big bike engine with a couple of seats strapped to the back of it. Now though, the Super 3 is using a proper car engine, and modern safety regs dictate that you can't just leave it out in the open for anyone to cook themselves on. Keen to keep as much weight as possible behind the front wheels, Morgan has seemingly moved mountains to keep the fizzy little 3-pot Ford motor and Mazda MX-5 gearbox inside the bodywork. Naturally, that does mean that this car is a little bigger than the old one, but not by much, and performance is improved. The 1.5-litre engine puts out 118 bhp, propelling the Morgan from 0 to 62 miles per hour in about 7 seconds, and onto a hair-raising top speed of 130. The new Super 3 then is strangely state-of-the-art, and yet it's still very much a Morgan. It's like nothing else, and it's distinctly British. It's on sale now from just under £42,000, with first deliveries due in the summer.
Join us next week on Auto Mundial as we check out the all-new Vauxhall Grandland.